Good evening, Donald from D&D Defense, and today's video is going to demonstrate what is known, at least in my circle of practice, as a split entry drill. And you'll see in a moment why it's called that. But first, I'm going to just kind of go over some basics, which are the stances. And that's important because in order to perform this, you have to understand the stances first. So you have to have the base fundamentals. And one of the analogies I like to use when I teach classes is that if you don't have a foundation like a home, then you can't build off of it. Meaning, if a house doesn't have a good foundation, if you want to make extensions, you wouldn't be able to. So if you don't have the base fundamentals, which are your foundation, then your ability to do more deceptive techniques that will allow you to win the encounter, whether it's a sporting fight or it's a street confrontation where you're defending yourself. And on a side note, with a street confrontation, always be aware that there's going to be additional variables, particularly with environment, and there are no referees. So just a couple things to consider when you see these videos. So first, starting off, this is what's considered an orthodox stance. So left leg forward, left hand leading as the jab, with my right hand following with a cross. And then other stance is what's commonly referred to as a southpaw stance, where my right hand and right leg are forward and my left is the backhand. So the way that I like to do this, if I'm sparring or even in a street confrontation, if the situation dictates it or allows for it, is I start off in my traditional orthodox stance. And, I condition my opponent or the person I'm defending myself against to that stance, as if this is my primary stance and my go-to stance. So that way, when I decide to switch and go into a southpaw stance, it creates a certain level of confusion, mainly because I've already conditioned him to think that orthodox is my primary stance, and so he actually thinks that I'm weak here as opposed to strong, which is why this is deceptive. So the same thing that I did with my orthodox stance, where I'm shooting the jab, conditioning him with a jab, feeling him out, I'm going to do the same thing from a southpaw stance, sticking a jab, keeping him at bay, but also using it as a feeler to feel him out. And then when I'm ready, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my feet, which is why they call this a split entry. And so I'm going to try and get as far back as possible, but you should be able to see what happens when I switch my stance. I switch my feet and I move to my left. Boom. And I still use my right hand, which was the jab, and turn it into a power cross. So when you switch and also step off line, which protects any counter punches that may be coming, it's deceptive in the sense that now I've switched my stance back to orthodox without throwing the jab and throwing an immediate cross as a power shot. So if he's throwing a jab, that jab is going to come here, and yes, it may nick me a little bit, but he's going to run right into my power shot. And if this does not knock him back or on his ass, then I have a follow-up, which is with this step, which is why it's so good, is I'm on the ball of my right foot and it's loaded my body in a position to allow me to then throw an overhand hook, or as I'm pivoted here, I can then step to the opposite side line because now I'm to this side. So he's been punched and he sees me to this direction and now attempts to orientate himself this direction. And when they do that, I then step off line to the opposite direction, hitting with a left hand that's loaded as a power shot. And instead of going back, because he's been hit twice now with the same type of step, I then pivot off the left ball of my foot that I'm now on this last cross step. Coming out, following up with punches or even a kick if the environment dictates it. Self-defense and a sporting arena are two different things. No rules in a street defense, rules in a sporting event. Controlled environment in a sporting event, not so much in a self-defense scenario. So understand that when trying to deal with a self-defense situation, understanding your environment is super important, and understanding those around you, because you may have people that are in your way. You may be in a restaurant type of environment or bar environment or something where there's stools and chairs, and you can't always get those movements, which is why I say environment will dictate whether you would be able to do this or not. So with that said, this technique is just one tool in the toolbox of many tools that I've gathered over the years to apply in a very specific situation. So when you watch this video, just understand it's for informative purposes only and is not meant as a training tool. If you're interested in more content, please give my YouTube page a follow. If you are in the Hartford County area and are interested in either martial arts lessons or firearms lessons, or looking to get your pistol permit, feel free to go to dnddefense.com. And my contact information is also there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out either by email or phone, or leave a comment in the comments section and I will respond. Stay safe and thank you.